Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and how's everybody keeping? Big surprise us popping on. I know last week I was promising loads of days, and I said we're going to pop on and do a live. Now, this morning's live is going to be very, very simple, and I don't know how organized everybody else is, but I still, and Deirdre had, okay, we still had our Christmas door wreath still hanging on our door. And I know we're not the only lazy so-and-sos out there, because last night I was up visiting a friend of mine, Mary Bradley, in case she's watching, and she also had her Christmas door wreath on the door. So it's nearly time to revamp them and get them down. And what I want to show you is something very, very inexpensive. Basically, this is going to cost you absolutely nothing to make, okay? Revamping up our old Christmas door wreath. So while we're getting organized there, let us know who's watching, where you're watching in from, and sure, listen, we might as well do the weather forecast. Here in Dublin, it's absolutely Baltic. You know that way, as we say in Dublin, it would freeze the balls off a brass monkey. It's absolutely bitter cold out there. So anyone that's watching, let us know you're watching, where you're watching in from, and just in case you happen to be somewhere a little bit sunnier and warm, make us all mad jealous and let us know where you're watching in from. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to strip down the Christmas door wreath. So this was literally taken off the door this morning, okay? So I'm going to remove, and all you have to do is just grab the items and pull them out, okay? So these are some of the artificial poinsettias, okay? And what I'm doing, as I'm pulling them out, I'm straightening back up the frames. Now, you needn't do that now. You can do that, obviously, in 12 months' time. But literally, or probably less than 12 months' time, this can all be reused again, you know that way. So don't go and throw all these materials out, because as I said, it's going to save you money and you can use them again. Even like the bows, even if the bow looks a little bit flat, do you see the way like next year you can come along and you can revamp it, you know that way. Even with the organza, again, that can be fluffed out. And you know what a great idea with the organza bows, okay, is remove the wires, okay, and then stick them into the dryer, and the dryer fluffs up the material and then remake the bow again. Like all these lemon slices, you know what I mean? I know some of you were saying about the slices of fruit when they got damp, the way they went wet again. But you listen, once they're dry for a few days, they dry back out again. So here is all our dehydrated orange slices, lemon slices, etc. These are all back dry again, and they can all be reused again next year. You can see the way I'm straightening out the wires as I pull them out. This one here, I'd say the birds must have been at that one there, so that one will obviously go in the bin. And this one is a little bit soft and it's a little bit damp, so I'm going to throw that one in the bin as well, because that will just set the other ones off. Any of your pine cones, pull them all out. And if your lotus pods, pull them all out, you know that way. And as I said, straighten the wires as you go along, and you can reuse them all again next year. So who's watching, Deirdre?
Oh, we've loads of people watching this morning. We have Yellow Rose, Marion, is it? Maureen up in Donegal.
Good morning,
and she says,
Maureen.
it's sunny and it's cold. Francis
here.
is watching from Durham in England. Nice to be with you, having our coffee. It's cold here as well, but it's dry and sunny. Well, it is. It's actually dry and sunny here too. We've Adrina who's watching in from Slane in County Meath, and it's fabulous blue skies, lovely day. Who else? Sean is watching in from Derry, and she says it would freeze the balls off brass monkey up there too.
Brilliant. So that's what our frame looks like. Then I have it stripped down. Okay. So today is a little bit of a rushy job, or a little bit of a disorganized job, okay? So I'm going to show you using this frame and how we can revamp it, okay? But I am going to be on during the week, later on in the week again, and I will be showing you how you can make your own base using the wire rings, okay? This is only a 10-inch one. They do come larger. And I do have a kit organized, okay? Somebody has maybe bought these kits off us in the past, and normally I send out extra, so you may have some left over. So in these kits, you get your 3 wire rings, but the 12-inch ones, so they're a bit bigger than these ones, okay? You get your roll of a green organza, which is quite neutral and will do all year round. You get your roll of real wire, and you see the way I'm going to be using that. And you also get a bunch of 20 gauge wires, which I'm not going to probably need this morning. But as we move on into February, which is only really a week and a half away, I'll be on to like our spring wreaths and our summer wreaths and our wedding wreaths. I have the son getting married in April, so I'll be doing lots of kind of like wedding designs. And also tonight we have a fresh flower delivery. So we've lots of plans for this week. We're going to be doing some Valentine's displays, you know, that way. So again, we're going to pre-record a couple of Valentine videos and stuff that you can be doing, whether it's anybody in the shop or home-based studios or whatever it might be. So if anybody is interested, you can purchase the kits on our website, flowerschoolisland.com, www. And it's under floral sundries, and we can get the kit posted out to you. So just in case anybody's watching and they're saying, oh, well, I haven't got an old Christmas wreath, you know, the way you can do one from scratch, and I will be back on during the week, and I'll show you like making the base from scratch, okay? But today is all about kind of revamping and recycling and looking after the environment and so on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to remove this foliage. I'm going to squeeze it in tight, okay? So you can see the way I just kind of got my hand around the bunches of greenery there and squeeze them in around the metal frame that's at the back, okay? With my reel wire, I'm just gripping it with my thumb, and I'm going to wrap the reel wire. Can you see the way I'm wrapping it around the Q press, or not the Q press, the Christmas spruce, okay? And you can see the way it's now going to bring the frame in. Can you see the way a little bit skinnier, and it's making a nice thick base, okay? There will be a small little bit of shedding, but when I squeeze this all in much tighter, you'll find that I'll get less and less shedding, okay? Now I'm holding it up so you can see what I'm doing, okay, with the technique, but you will find it much easier to keep it actually on the table flat, squeeze it in, and then wrap it. And I can find I can get a good pull on it then and wrap around. And again, squeeze in the branches, wrap it around. And I am going to go around this twice, okay? Because you know me, to be feckin' well sure, okay? So again, let us know who's watching there has an old Christmas wreath, you know what I mean? Or maybe your neighbour has. So you could say to your neighbour, listen, do you want me to take that wreath in there and I'll do a little bit of revamping on it? Because so far, this has only cost me the roll of reel wire, okay? And you'll see, like the rest of the materials that I'm going to use, it's going to cost feck all to make, you know, that way. Really, really cheap. It's not going to be a long-term idea.
Nobody's getting paid yet. Nobody gets paid at the end of the month.
Can somebody let us know? We were wondering there this morning, is it this Monday is Blue Monday? We're not feeling blue here today, by the way. But is it this Monday or next Monday is Blue Monday? Because I know always in January, I think what happens is it's a 5-week month, you know, that way. And then most people that I'm not paid by the month, I'm paid by the week. But most people that are paid by the month, they would have got paid early with Christmas. You know what I mean? You would have got your wages, you know what I mean? Probably in around the 22nd or the 23rd of December. And here you are now at this stage, absolutely smashed, feckin' broke, and not a penny to your name, you know that way. And I think it's this Monday or next Monday they call Blue Monday for that reason. Now that's gone around once, okay? So now I'm going to go around a second time and to just catch it in a little bit firmer. But to be honest, you don't have to go around the second time. But the advantage of going around the second time is you'll have less shedding with the spruce, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm going to go around the second time. Who's getting this frame, you or me?
Oh, it's my door wreath, it's my frame. Who else have we gone? Lorna's watching it from Scotland and she says, yes, it's Blue Monday today. Claire says, sure. Yeah, it's Blue Monday today. Dara is watching in from a stunning Donegal.
Oh.
Nikki is watching in from County Clare. Martina is watching in from Lymington. And she says, great to have you back. Shirley says she revamped her Christmas wreath with the flowers from evergreen silk plants.
Excellent. So I'm just using all foliage today, but definitely like we're going to be using some silk flowers and fresh flowers later on in the week and in the following weeks, okay? As I said, today is just kind of a quickie, as we call it, you know, that way. Maybe not the quickie you're thinking about, but just kind of a quickie, keeping things really cheap because nobody has any money. So what you're going to do is you're going out to your garden or your neighbor's garden, right? So you need your scissors, your pruners, your secateurs, whatever. And I want you to cut about 60 pieces of eucalyptus, or you can change it to whatever foliages you happen to have. Now, if anybody's watching there and you have, you know, other foliages growing in your garden, just comment underneath. And even if you're not watching live, you're watching on the replay. And if you are watching on the replay, make sure you comment to let us know you're watching on the replay. But put your foliages that you happen to have growing, and we will definitely respond back to you, and we'll let you know whether it's suitable or whether you could substitute it. So about 60 pieces of eucalyptus, about that length, okay? Mine are kind of a little bit miserable. This was all taken from the garden, okay? Where you might find if you buy in the eucalyptus bunches from the wholesalers or your flower shop, they might have a little bit more leaf on them. But as I said, this is all out of the garden, cost me absolutely nothing.
Out of my garden, in the dark this morning with the ice everywhere.
Wasn't it? You know what I mean? Even, well, I didn't have to drive. I walked over this morning. But I know Deirdre was saying she had to put the water and all on the windscreen to defrost the ice. The other thing that Deirdre has grown in her garden is the black pittosporum. And again, you'll want about 60 sprigs. Now, again, if you get kind of bushier pieces like that, you'll get away with maybe a little bit less of them. If they're a little bit miserable like that one there, you'll definitely need the 60 of them. And again, in and around that length, so we're going to say around 20 centimeters approximately. And again, if you haven't got the black pittosporum grown in your garden, comment underneath, let us know what you have, and I'll be able to tell you whether that's
says
suitable.
that she has pittosporum and she has japonica leaves.
Not sure about the japonica leaves, as in I'm not really sure what they look like. You've caught me there, okay? So post a photograph, and I'm not sure if Sinead watching. Sinead's our horticulturist, and she'll be able to give us more information on that. Another thing that Deirdre got out of the garden was the viburnum. Do you know that way? And this one is where she has it in flower, but some of you may have it. I have it at home, and it's in berry. And I'm trying to get away from the berry because we don't want it kind of Christmassy looking. So again, if yours hasn't got a flower on it, you can just use the foliage. Now, some pieces were a little bit smaller, as you can see there, and that one was really, really small. Do you know that way? So I'd say with these pieces, you'll want about 20 decent pieces. Do you know that way? Now, that's not really decent one, but I put this little small one kind of cut in there with it. So about 20 pieces of this with the flower on it, about 60 pieces of the eucalyptus, if yours is miserable and skimpy like mine, about 60 pieces of the pittosporum, if yours is miserable and skinny like mine, and obviously if yours are bushier, fuller and fatter, we all put on that COVID stone, didn't we, for the year, you'll get away with a little bit less. Anyone out there on a diet, or you're not supposed to be on a diet, but get fit, get skinnier, or whatever way you want to call it, for January. We are here in Kate Flower School, and if you've been watching, you can see that we're all on the water here with the Ribena mixed into it, and we're trying to convince ourselves that it's red wine. It doesn't taste at all like red wine, but it's better than the plain water. So what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 or 3 pieces of your miserable bits of eucalyptus together. You're going to put 1 or 2 pieces of your pittosporum on top of it, and you're going to put 1 piece of your viburnum on top of it. And if you happen to have a little miserable piece, you can catch that in there at the same time. So we're making pieces about that size. Now, if yours are a little bit bushier or fuller, even better, you know that way. But because it was the dark and because she was cold, she was a bit miserable on what she robbed here this morning. Okay?
I'm just saying she has 2 types of eucalyptus and silver Sussex left over from Christmas. So yeah, any foliage if you have left it over,
silver Sussex would be brilliant.
Yeah, mine
now,
just isn't.
Just where I had the frame wrapped up, okay, I'm just going to cut off the real wire, and the bit of wire that's left over, I'm just kind of sticking it in among the spruce, okay. So now I'm back to the real wire, and what I'm going to do is just catch it with my thumb just at the edge here, and then just wrap the wire around about 4 or 5 times and cut it off, okay. And this will work out. Again, you'll get great value with the real wire by doing it this way.
Frida wants to know, can she use the flowering ivy? If I had been able to get into it this morning.
The flowering ivy would be brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely use that. That would be gorgeous. And anybody that does this during the week or today, why don't you post a photograph for us and let us see it? And you never know, Deirdre could be feeling in a generous humour if she sees any nice photographs. So we have, again, a couple of little bits of eucalyptus, 1 or 2 little bits of pittosporum kind of put on top of it. And again, if you have a little bit of the viburnum, because that's what I'm using, because that's what I was given. And again, get your wire, catch it with your thumb at the beginning, wrap it around 4 or 5 times, cut it back off again, and that's your little bunches kind of like wired up. And I have approximately 18 bunches. I'd normally like around 25, 30. But as I said, it was kind of left a little bit miserable. But again, we can always work with what we have, you know, that way. So I have my base, which cost me nothing. As I said, I cut it all in again with the real wire. And I have 18 bunches of the mixed foliages. And again, you can use the foliages that you happen to have in your garden. And they're all wrapped together with the real wire as well. Because other times I've done this class, I've showed you like using the florist wires, which you can use, but you waste a lot of wire, you know, when you do that, where it's more economical. And again, we're all about being economical, mean, stingy, or what would be the other word? Saving money, you know that way. It's Blue Monday. No, exactly. So what we're now going to do is attach the foliage on. So you're back to the same real wire, okay? And again, you're going to attach it on. Now, if you had all your bunches pre-organized, which I had, I could have left the wire on at the very beginning, but I had to cut it off so I could show you how I demonstrated the bunches there. So if yours is still cut on, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, catch it with your thumb. I just basically rest my thumb at the back there on the greenery, and then wrap the wire around the same spot 3 or 4 times, and it normally catches on there nice and tight, and there it is, you see, cut on again. Now, if anybody hasn't got real wire, you could use a roll of twine, you know, like a ball of twine. Like here at the school, we use the hand-tied twine. You see that there? And we use it for tying up our bunches of flowers, our hand-tied bouquets. And that would also do for doing anything that I've done. Just when you're making the bunches, it would mean having to tie a knot, and that's going to slow you down. You know what I mean? Where it is obviously quicker using the real wire.
Mary Geary says free cycling.
Free, that's a brilliant word, Mary. Yeah, fair play to you. That's exactly what it is, free cycling. So again, if you've been watching me in the past, as in last year, 2021, you would have seen when I made these wreaths, I placed the foliage on slightly on an angle. Where because I'm a little bit miserable today, I'm going to place everything directly onto the base, okay? So where last year I placed them on that way, today I'm going to place them on that way, directly flat onto the frame. So get your first bunch, rest it onto the frame, get your real wire, it's already in that spot, and ground the end of that bunch where you have the wire on it 2 or 3 times, and that's it attached on, okay? This is an easier way of making the wreaths, by the way. You get your second bunch and you overlap it, okay? And again, you get your real wire and you wrap that around 2 or 3 times around the end of the bunch where you have the wire on. Now, a little trick, okay? If you just kind of like wrap the wire over here another little bit, it gives you room when you take up your third bunch and you slightly overlap that. It means that you're in the right spot, you see, to catch the wire around the end of the bunch. So again, just to show you, so I just went around the end of the bunch and now I'm just kind of coming over here to see just a little bit. And then you take up your fourth bunch, overlap it on, and around you go again. So this is what it's looking like to see so far. And again, remember, free cycling, as Mary said, costing us absolutely nothing, zero.
Linda says she has laurel, eucalyptus, ivy, and holly.
That would be perfect. The laurel is brilliant. Put the laurel at the back, you know, that way. So you kind of find if you're using like a really heavy foliage to keep it at the back, if you have something that's really nice with the flower on it or a colour on it, like even if you just have the black pittosporum, you could keep that to the front, you know, that way. But again, if your bunches look a little bit different, that's absolutely fine as well.
And that's, nobody else is telling me what the foliage is. But we have, Linda is watching in from Nottinghamshire. She says it's sunny today, but they had a good frost this morning as well.
Brilliant.
Seems to be frost everywhere
this
morning.
Everywhere, yeah. It's going to kill all the COVID. COVID now.
Remember my mother used to say that, good frost to kill all the viruses.
The COVID now is going to become the common cold. That's what it said in the business post yesterday. So please God, how did everybody get on over the Christmas? Who there did catch the Omicron? Because we all kind of here. Well, I didn't. I escaped it. Well, I think I escaped it. At this stage, dear Sam, I probably did get it and I just didn't realise I had it. But we did find Christmas week in Deirdre's house. She went down with it. The 2 sons went down and her daughter went down. And in our house, like one of my sons went down as well. So, and I think nearly at this stage, if you didn't catch it, there's something wrong with you. You're not part of the team. My
husband, he reckons he must be immune. He reckons alcohol keeps it away. So,
well, my husband reckons, because obviously he's from Sligo, he said it's the what's it called, the Wild West, the Wild Atlantic way. He said it's the Wild Atlantic blood in his system, and that's how he hasn't caught it. But I'm calling them the super spreader. I said you probably have got it and you just don't realise you've had it, you know, that way, and you're probably spreading it to everybody else. So again, just to hold this up so you can see how simple and how easy it is. Like if your frame is a 12-inch frame, which my one is, by placing the stuff directly onto the frame, it only turns out 12 inches. It might be 13 inches, you know, that way, thereabout. Where again, the other techniques I showed you in the past, you know, that way, where we placed it on an angle. Now you need a lot more material when you do it that way, but you do make your wreaths that little bit bigger. Cut a bit of sellotape in there as well.
Claire says that that they all got a New Year's Day. She'd missed it twice, but she got a New Year's Day. Yeah, Karen says that she got it. Caroline over on Instagram says that they got it. So yeah, somebody's asking Janette about your jumper, Kerry.
All right.
Says where'd you get
I've had this jumper on a couple of times. You must have missed it. You know, that way. This is called my Hope sweatshirt. So a while ago, or a good few months ago when I was wearing it, I used to say this was my hope the pub's open. But now I'm off the drink anyway for a month. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. So this is my hope I lose a bit of weight jumper. I'm losing weight for the wedding. I think I said that to you, didn't I? My son's getting married in April. So this wedding has been postponed 3 times. And at this stage, Jessica said she's getting married. No matter what happens, the wedding is going ahead. You know, that way, I think even if it's going to be in the sitting room, it could even end up being in Case Flower School. But the wedding is going ahead in April. So I've no excuse. I have to lose the weight now at this stage. So again, just to let you see how this is coming on. And I'm down to the last 2 bunches. Now, I think I could do with 3. So the bow will be going on in the spot. As I said, Deirdre left me a little bit miserable this morning. So when it comes to your last bunch, you can see where the last bunch is going to sit in there. Now, I know I need a second bunch, but I'm just going to have to economize,
compromise, improvise. Janet says, hi there, she missed the base of the wreath. Is the base wire?
You can rewind this and you can watch it all again, you know, that way. So there's a little trick for you, because I have the bases for sale as well if you want to watch that. So we're not going to tell you.
Angela King says that they're getting cold and drips and drabs to the house. There's nothing worse.
Do you know what? Like, I hear that of people like putting one of the kids or whatever it might be, or the father, the son, the mother, or whatever, and keeping them in quarantine. Do you know what I mean? I think our advice is it's so contagious. Just everybody sit in the same room, drink out of the same cup.
As long as there's no underlying conditions.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Lick each other, kiss each other, whatever, and just everybody get it at the one time. You
That's
know
what we do.
And at least you can have a duvet party in the house and watch Netflix for 7 or 10 days, and please God, it'll be all over. You know, that way. Obviously, if you have underlying conditions, ignore everything I've said and stick to what Micheál Martin tells you what to do, or Tony Holohan. For our last bunch, I'm just going to lift up the beginning of the first bunch. You know, that way, just kind of like lift that up slightly. Stick the end of this one in underneath it, okay? And that way then they'll join up. As I said, I know I need an extra bunch, but I haven't got an extra bunch, okay? It's just about making out. And when you're wrapping the wire around this one, if you come in flat the way I've been doing it for all the other bunches, the other 17 of them, I'd flatten all the greenery down. So we call it the wiggle and the wangle, okay? So you're wiggling the wire and wangling it in and out between the leaves and then catching it. And then you're doing a little bit of wiggling and wangling, you see, in between your leaves, and that just stops you flattening that last bunch. And then what you do, pull your wire tight, cut it off, and the bit of wire that's left over, stick it back down into your frame, and there's your foliage wreath made. And as I said, that has cost you absolutely nothing to make, 0, a roll of real wire, okay? Because everything has been revamped, recycled, as Mary told us. Now, then if you want to add a bow or even a hook for hanging it.
I like just a hook.
You like just a hook. Okay. Well, someone out there might like a bow. Does anybody want to learn how to make a bow? Let me know. But as I said, included in the kit, I've included a full roll of the green. This is called the moss green organza. And it's just because it's very neutral, and you will use it for your spring wreaths, your summer wreaths, your wedding wreaths, you know, that way, your Valentine wreaths, your Mother's Day wreaths. We've loads and loads of different types of door wreaths planned, you know, that way. A lot of them, a lot more exciting than this one. This one is kind of a little bit boring. But as I said, it's Monday. We're just getting back into the swing of things, and we're waiting on our fresh flower delivery to come tonight. So first of all, if you just want to make a hanger, decide what length you want it, okay? Cut your organza. You're always better to have this a little bit too long than too short, because you can cut off what you don't need. Pick the spot that you want to put the hanger on, and ideally pick it where you finished and you started, you know what I mean? Because chances are that's where you have a little bit of untidiness, or in my case, I have a little bit of a baldy spot. So I'm bringing the organza in through the hole here. I'm going to tuck it in underneath the foliage, you know, that way, kind of in underneath the wire a little bit, rather than coming on top of it. You see, like that effect there? So you can see the way it came through. I'm going to bring the 2 pieces together, and I'm going to tie a double knot, okay? So just kind of placing the 2 of them side by side. Oh, there we go. Just tying a double knot. There we go. Now, stretch that and make sure that knot is really, really tight. So pull it like that, you see, just to make sure it's really tight. Trim off your raw bits, and then bring the ribbon back that the knot is hidden, to see, at the back of it, so that you have a nice piece of organza coming up, okay? Does anybody want to learn how to make a bow?
Nobody said it.
Nobody said. I'm going to do it for the ones that are watching on the replay.
Yeah.
So then, if you want to make a bow, again, you can decide on whatever length, okay, you want to make it. And this is the collar bow, which we've shown you loads of times. And we can always adjust the size of this bow. I'll probably make it a little bit smaller because I know Deirdre was saying she wasn't really fussy about a bow on her one. But we're looking after the people that are watching later on this evening. So what you're going to do is pretend.
Oh, we're getting loads of yeses now.
Okay. Pretend that you were wrapping around your neck. You know what I mean? That's the technique. You know what I mean? As if you're wrapping around your neck and it's crossed, you know, that way, the way I had it crossed under my neck. And then you grab what was around the back of my neck. So you grab that piece of ribbon there and you bring it in to where it was crossed under your chin. And you can see that's how you get the bow. Now, it is possible to use the real wire to do this, but to make it easier for you, you're probably as well to use the 20 gauge wire. And I include a bunch of these in the kit that we send out. Plus, I include 3 of the wire frames. Now, a 12-inch frame. This is only a 10-inch I have here in my hand. But I include 3 of the 12-inch frames, a roll of real wire, a full roll of the organza, and a bunch of the 20 gauge wires. So it means if you join me for the next couple of weeks that you'll know how to do your spring wreath, because 1st of February is going to be spring, and then we'll do some like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, you know, that way, getting paid day, whatever you want to call them. So what I'm doing now is I'm just wrapping the 20 gauge wire around the bow, you know, where I had it cut there in the center. And the trick is that you have a long piece of wire and a short piece of wire. And what I'm going to do now is pinch the 2 pieces of wire in together real tight. And the longer piece of wire gets wrapped around the shorter piece.
The sound seems to be gone on Instagram.
Oh, sorry about that. That happened before Christmas as well. I don't know why that happens. So what I'm just doing with the bow now is I'm opening out the loop. You see of the organza, and I'm going to do the same over this side. Again, I'm just going to stretch it out. And it's up to you. You can keep it smaller, tighter, fuller. It's completely up to you. And then the 2 tails on the bow, okay, I'm just going to pull these down and I'm going to shorten them. Do you know the way? So I'm going to cut across there just to shorten them. You could have measured the ribbon off the roll, and that way would it be more economical. See, we're supposed to be saving money this morning, and make the bow. I would have just used the amount of ribbon that I needed. So there's my organza bow made up. Now again, you could use the one from your Christmas wreath. If you had an organza bow on your Christmas wreath, for anybody that's joining late, this was showing you how to revamp your Christmas door wreath, costing you very, very little. You know that way, a bow, a roll of real wire, and greenery from your own garden. Do you know the way? And again, you can watch this on the replay. So bring your frame over the edge of the table. Where you have your loop, okay, you're going to get the wire and you're going to stick it or pierce it or stab it through the frame, okay, which is kind of struggling a little bit. So we'll straighten the wire again, and I'm just going to find a slightly different spot that it went through, okay. So that's the bow then cut in. That's the wire, you see at the back, that came through the other side. And all you do then is you bend that over into a U-bend and you stick it back up into the frame. And again, you can do that actually on the table to make it easier for you. So pull the wire, make that U-bend, the horseshoe bend, pull it across, stick it back up into the frame, straighten your bow around, you know that way, fix your little tails on it, fix your loop, and there is your very, very simple, I was going to say Christmas, January Blue Day, Blue Monday. I should have put a blue bow on it because it was Blue Monday. I wasn't 100% sure whether it was Blue Monday when we were demonstrating it. And there's a wreath that has cost you absolutely zilch, you know that way, hanging on your door, and it'll then get you prepared and organised for in a week's time, and we get back on track, you know that way, doing the door wreaths, adding in the artificial flowers, adding in the fresh flowers, and again, making them a little bit more exciting. Any questions? If you have any questions?
No, they're loving it. They think it's a great idea. Yeah, and again, we still have everyone is telling me no sound over on Instagram.
Sorry about that. Absolutely no control on our end.
I hope the sound comes back.
I hope the sound comes back. What was the name of your woman? All Things Fiona something is the name of the company.
Yeah, All Things Fiona Lily, was it?
I think it's All Things Fiona Lily. She's on Facebook and she's on Instagram. But she has, this is an old one, but she has much newer ones. I got the one there a while ago and it's like Flower Power or something is wrote on it. So go onto her site. It's all recycled material. So you know companies when they maybe making sweatshirts or whatever, and they have like odd bits left over. Well, she gets them all, and that's why you have a blue sleeve and a yellow sleeve and a pink this and whatever it might be, and they're all completely different, you know, that way. They're kind of like one-offs, and they're not that expensive, and they wash brilliantly, because I have this one, must have a year, I'd say
easily a year,
and I wear it quite regular, you know, that way. Throw it in the washing machine and the dryer, and it washes great. If somebody's watching and they know the company I'm talking about, they might tag her underneath there. All Things Fiona Lily. I'm nearly sure that's what she's called. She's definitely on Instagram, and she could be on Facebook as well.
Just hold the wreath up again.
Okay, no problem at all. Now, for anybody that's watching, we have a lot of our new students joining us next Wednesday. So module 1 for the beginners professional floristry certificate online program, that's starting next Wednesday. Some of the kits are gone out in the post already, and a lot of them, because some people were still waiting on your details from social welfare or from skill nets, so your ones will go out in the next day or two. Okay, and there still is some skill net grants for it, so if you're interested in booking onto the module 1, drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and we'll send you on all the details. But also the module 3 professional floristry wedding online program, that's also starting next Wednesday, and there's also the skill net grant for that one, which is, I think it's worth €225. So again, if anybody is watching,
closes on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday is the closing date for both modules. Okay, the bookings close on Wednesday because we need to get all the kits sent out to you. Anybody that's received their kit from module 1, just be careful opening the bag that's inside it, because your florist knife is in it, and I got a little bit of a cut myself the other day, so just be careful. Okay, and anybody from module 3, when you open your kit, you'll get your guppy in it, and yes, it's a 2-sided guppy. Okay, I've got a few emails already. Don't panic, don't worry about it. Wait till next Wednesday, and I'll explain why you have a 2-sided guppy, because we don't use it for flower range, and we're going to use it for one of our wedding bouquet designs. So it's just to save me another 10 emails later on when we start opening up the kits.
Dara tagged All Things Fiona Lily.
Fair play to you, Dara. I really appreciate that. Thanks a million. Okay, I think I love yous and leave yous. I don't know what day we're going to be back on. And as I said, we have a fresh flower delivery coming in tonight.
We might even do the fresh flower delivery live in the morning. We'll see, because there's a few surprises in it you don't know about.
All right, okay. Deirdre done the order, so haven't a clue what. And then you see, she'll hand it all to me, and she'll say, "There you go now. Do a Valentine arrangement using that stuff there." So that's what we're going to be doing during the week, is working on Valentine's Day and Mother's Day designs, so that you can get yourself all prepared and all organized. And remember, for Valentine's Day, pink is the new red, by the way. Okay, red roses are going to be off the wall, sky high the prices, lots and lots of different reasons behind it. So the new red is going to be pink. Okay, pink is the new red. Anybody who wants to contact us about any of the courses here at the school, drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and listen, we'll join you again later during the week. Thanks a million, and don't forget to share. Go on, give us a thumbs up there, and don't forget to share. See you all. Bye bye. Thanks for joining.